We're going to call the meeting of the Building and Housing Committee to order. Today is September 15th at 6 p.m. Present are the committee members, Councilman John Rock, Councilman Christopher Cooney, our alternate, Councilman Brian King, also from council, Councilwoman Sherry Sachs, Vice Mayor Weiss, Councilwoman Weiser, our law director, Brad Bryan, the mayor has come in. Our director of housing and community development, Markel Davis, our chief building officer, Bill Bartley, and our finance director is gracing us with her presence tonight as well, Katie Akonis. And in the audience, we do have service director Ellen Pennington and a resident. All right, so let us get started. The first item on the agenda is an ordinance on changing the income level for the city exterior grant program. This was brought up about a year ago. It's sort of been talked about briefly back and forth. Vice Mayor Weiss actually began to pull some stuff together. So I'm going to turn over the meeting to her to describe what we want to do with the program, and then we will go from there.
Thank you, Councilman Weiser. So as the councilman just said, over the last year, we've kind of been looking at poverty levels. I've been speaking to residents. I spoke to the housing director to see how many people actually, or we've set it in committee, how many people actually have applied for our exterior maintenance program. Currently, the percentage is at 120% poverty level, which is extremely low, even for moderate federal programs and state programs. My suggestion is to raise it to 200% poverty level, which is typical. Just for everybody's kind of, if for context, a family household of one needs to make 31,300 to be eligible, and a family household of four, let's say it's 64,300. So the hope is that more people would be able to take advantage of this program because so few were eligible before.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Ms. Davis. I would ask, and I'm sure you know, about how many people have actually applied or could qualify for the program that might have contacted you about it?
In 2024, we processed 4 applications. 2 of the 4 were approved, but they failed to follow through.
Okay, but they were approved. So they
Correct.
met the income level.
That's correct.
The other 2 were rejected for not meeting the income level, or?
Yes.
Okay, so we potentially only had 2. I believe we allocate, what, about 15,000 a year for this program? If I remember
You know what?
correctly.
25.
It's 25,000.
25,000 a year is available. And this is linked to the exterior inspection program. Am I not correct?
Yes.
So that
Yeah.
would cover. I was asking Ms. Davis, but that's okay.
I thought you were looking at me.
No, yeah, I know. She's sitting next to you.
Yes.
Since she's in charge of the program, I think probably appropriate for her to answer. That covers anything with the exterior that they would be cited for. Am I correct?
That's correct.
Okay,
I
thank you.
do have one question though.
Sure.
For 2025, the income level for one is 55,650.
I think there's the difference is whether we go by the Health and Human Services poverty level or the housing and urban development standards. So the HUD standards varies per location in the country, and the Health and Human Services standard, which the vice mayor provided to me, which she wanted to go with, is a set amount for the country, except for, I think, Hawaii and Alaska. That might be the difference.
So what would you recommend, Ms. Davis?
Recommend as far as
To use the HUD
poverty
levels or the more generic levels? I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I think you brought up a good point, and, you know, you have more expertise in that area. So if we use the HUD levels, those numbers that the vice mayor gave would be higher? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah.
Pardon? Vice
Can I
mayor?
just make, yeah, so it's interesting that you mentioned the HUD levels. With income programs in the county, that's what I was researching. They're not using that, they're using the federal levels. I didn't realize that HUD had something different. I'm just looking right now because I want to see like what the, you know, when you go down the list, 2 people, 4 people.
So it's on the, under the exterior program on the website, the application is there and the chart is on the application.
On the HUD website or on our website?
On our website, which was taken from the HUD chart.
Oh, okay. If you take a minute, let us double check that, pull it up, and that way, if we're gonna make these changes, we make them appropriate. Here's housing. Exterior. Guidelines, there we go. Household size, 21 person, 2025 income limits were 55,650
So I'm
using
just,
the HUD.
Ms. Weiser, so I'm
Yeah.
just confused because we were saying 120% always. This is not at 120%.
So when it was time to update the application, I went back in the previous paperwork. There was an article stating what income limits that they were using, I believe, from 2019. I consulted with Brad to confirm that the numbers were correct prior to making the update.
So these would actually work
And-
out. These are
Yeah,
higher
originally
than
they
what.
were
but-
2018 income limits, which in 2018, the household one was 39,600.
Yeah,
Do we know what the percentage is here? I'm not opposed, by the way, to making it higher. I'm just asking, do we know which?
Yeah.
What's the,
I think-
this can't be 120%.
I think, just for clarification here, I think part of the reason we went to wanting to move them up, Ms. Davis, was, and we were unaware that these were revised. You revised them, you did the appropriate work, you put them up on the website, but sometimes things don't get to us. to
Well,
take a
these
look
are,
at. Pardon?
these are changed every year
Okay.
or
but-
yearly.
Yeah, but the ones that I saw a couple of years ago were significantly lower
So
than this.
it's interesting because online, the HUD poverty guidelines for 2025 in Ohio, 20,900 for a household of 1. We have to make sure that we're at the correct percentages. I
So
think
the
that's what's getting,
So if it's 120%, it'd be 425.
Which is not, one of the issues for this, and the reason why we're even really talking about it is in many cases, this actually affects senior citizens, where we have somebody, a widow, who is on, and I've had calls from them where they are on Social Security or a retirement, but not a high income retirement. And the previous guidelines, the ones that we had seen previously, were substantially lower. I think they were almost $20,000 lower than this. I think they were around 30, maybe a little lower 2 years ago, when Jeff was still here. So number one, I'm delighted, Miss Davis, that you increased them. On a personal level, I am delighted to see this. It's, again, one of those gaps in communication back and forth that happens sometimes. I don't know. I think this actually is better than. I don't know if we would want to change them then.
Well, in looking at the Cleveland, Ohio HUD Metro FMR area, it's actually the 80% income.
This is 80?
The one household at 55,650 is it says low 80% income limit.
I just pulled that.
Very low, 50, extremely low, 80%. Hey, let me take that up. Actually, I think it's not better than what you had. Oh, it's better than
It's much better.
what the vice mayor had proposed.
Family of one is the 55, a family of four is 79,500,
And what, if we use the federal,
31,000 versus 64,000. So
yeah, this
high-
actually
yeah.
works out better.
Yeah.
Mr. Cooney,
Thank you. The right above that table for looking at it, it says household gross income must be at or below federally established income limits. And
Ah.
then below the table, it references income limits are taken from 2025 adjusted home income limits set by the U.S. Department of HUD for the state of Ohio.
yeah, so there's a conflict there. You might want to correct the top thing because it isn't federal.
I just, a question for the law director.
Well, I think it's the federal limit, but for the state of Ohio, because the HUD limits change per area.
Okay,
It's based on county. This is the county for Cuyahoga County. I just want to make sure that, because it's not an ordinance, correct?
I believe it is.
We're going to make it one, but
Right.
currently
Right
it's
now,
not.
no.
I just want to make sure that for consistency, did we use the HUD one before?
If so, yes.
Okay, so I think this is appropriate to keep using that. I mean, HUD is housing.
Madam Chair,
Mayor?
thank you. Yeah, we did originally use HUD guidelines, but what I would point out is that we do not use any HUD money, so we're under no obligation to use HUD guidelines. We would be free to use other guidelines that we deem it appropriate. So if you'd rather use HUD, you'd rather use Health and Human Services poverty guidelines, as long as it's something that's regularly updated and as long as we are choosing a percentage that reasonably reaches folks that we want to help and that we don't have it so low that we are below folks that do live in University Heights. So I don't know that we need to be consistent with respect to making a meaningful change to make the program more available to more of our residents. Thank you.
I'm glad that,
Ms. Weiser, one more thing.
I,
Can
okay,
I just mention one more
I
thing?
think, hang on a
Go
second.
ahead, yeah.
Thank you. I think that probably this would be the better way to go. I think those numbers at 80% of income would probably capture the people that would actually need the assistance in University Heights. One thing I would recognize is this happens all the time when you try to use income limits or per capita income. Because depending, then you get into the Census Bureau definitions and they're all over. You've got to make sure which one of the Census Bureau definitions you're using because it affects what median household income is in an area. But I think, as Ms. Davis pointed out, using this gives us the best thing. Vice Mayor?
Yeah, I mean, I just, want to mention, let's say for a household of one, our grant's 2,500, we'd be able to serve 22 people. So, I mean, I think with these higher limits, I think people are going to take advantage of it. I think more people will be eligible and that's the purpose of the grant.
And we only had 4 applications and only 2 qualified, and then those 2 did not follow through. So basically, the money just has flipped, anything appropriated just sort of flips over every year. Ms. Davis, did you have anything else to?
No.
No, okay. Mr. Bryant, do we need to even take action on this?
Well, it's on that council meeting agenda, it can have a first reading, but I think we need to figure out what we're doing. It will be 148303B is what we have to decide what we're using.
1480-83.
1489.03 subsection B.
If we already are using HUD though, and it's updated, does anything need to be changed? Because it already seems like it's the 80%.
We putting it in the ordinance form, so we would have to
Okay.
just
Update it.
update B to state.
They shall develop the program application and application instructions and establish the additional rules and guidelines. So that's pretty, and it's mannered that are not inconsistent with the chapter. So the only thing we're talking about is where
Well,
those,
no, that's the wrong section. Sorry.
yeah, I know, we're doing the
It's 02I, the last one.
025.
To be eligible for the program, households' gross annual income must be equal to below.
200%, okay.
So if we're going with
The-
housing and urban development rather than health. and
For the
human
state of
services,
Ohio, yeah. So we'd have to revise section I of that. Put it on first reading, and if you can get us a revision, then we. Okay,
To figure out the percentage and the.
Chair. Thank you.
Mr. King,
So right now, this is replacing the entire chapter. And we're just talking about making one spot change in it. Correct.
in the new document, we're talking about making one spot
You know,
change.
right now, there's no code section. It's just it's passed
Yeah.
by an ordinance in
Oh, I see. Okay, thank you.
18 or 19. And I think it's better being in the code because it's easier to find rather than trying to figure out when we passed it, and what the number was.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm. Mr. Cooney,
Thank you. Ms. Davis, you said there were two applications that were approved
Correct.
last year or this year?
Last year.
Last year. I'm looking at the expense from 2024. It says the budget was $15,000, but the expense was $0. Should those have shown up as an expense? No?
you
Oh,
might
so they
use
never- they
Mr.
were approved,
Bartley.
but they never, Gotcha.
Ms. Sycana,
Thank you.
if you use Mr. Bartley's microphone, then anybody on Teams would be able to hear you.
Sorry.
Okay,
all right, perfect, thank you.
I
all
have a
right,
question.
Mr. Rock, nothing? Ms. Davis?
So I think my question is, if we do choose to keep using the same, the income guidelines from HUD, which was already being used and updated every year since 19 or 20,
Okay,
would that capture the median income for the residents in University Heights?
that's a good question also. The question is, do we want to go that high? I would suspicion our median income might be, and Mayor, you might know this off the top of your head. What's our median income? I haven't taken a look at it in a while.
Yeah, our median income, well, if you're talking about individuals or household, I would want to go back and look at the most recent data book from the county, but it was somewhere in the 70s.
I thought it was. Miss Weiss? Mrs. Weiss.
I mean, it just says on the HUD website that the median income is 99,000.
Well,
University.
that's not,
Cleveland,
that's not gonna be
metro
our
area.
city.
What?
We're talking about our city.
I know, but I'm saying if Cleveland is 99,000 or it
For their median income? No.
says,
Not the
well,
city.
I think it could be the state of Ohio. It says, could be the state of Ohio. Let me
Yeah, it
see.
would have to be the state of Ohio. For the city of Cleveland, that is not the median income.
It says-
That I know. That we're gonna have to hunt out of the
It
census.
says Cuyahoga County.
Um, How about if we move to, this is on the agenda, recommend to table and refer back to committee, and let's get these finer points, take the minute and research them for our median, both individual and household income. Take a look at the only concern I have, Ms. Davis, and I don't know because your expertise in dealing with like CMHA, is there a pretty wide fluctuation in these HUD values from year to year? Just, I'm not trying to put you on a spot, just sort of back of the neck. What would you say to that?
I would say I would want to look at the applications from previous years
Okay,
to determine.
that's fair.
if that's-
That might be a good idea. If you could get us those previous applications and we can look at it at the next meeting. And then, because we know right now we're at 55,000 because that's where the program is right now that you have up online. And take a look at all of these things, these little minor things that have come up and get those resolved. And then what we could do with the ordinance in the council meeting is to table it and refer it back to building and housing for final evaluation when we identify those various things. Okay? Brian?
I just found the census data for University Heights, and it does say median income as of 2023, 98,474.
That's for the city. Yeah.
Right, and maybe if we could come back with the HUD numbers for the area for 2024, I don't know if the 2025 numbers come out yet. And then we could decide what percentage to set it at.
Yeah. What it is, our median income is high. And that median income is not going to capture somebody who's just, especially like a widow on Social Security. That's the mush of everybody. What this program is designed to is to capture those at the bottom end. So we would actually have to take a look at the spread, the income spread in the census. And I can pull that up over the week and do that, run those numbers. That'll give us an idea of how many people also are at those various income divisions that the census uses. And then we really have a solid comprehensive idea on number one, who qualifies, how many people would qualify, and how high we have to go for that qualification. So I don't think we need a motion on this, do we, Brad?
No.
No, I don't think so. Just during the council meeting, I'll make a motion to table it and refer it back to committee. Okay, that amazing what we all learn. All right, second item on the agenda is an ordinance on the moratorium on sidewalks on citation enforcement until December 31st, 2025. Whoops. Back here. Just lost it. This actually came about from the previous discussion that we had at the previous meeting, where we talked about the fact that we had gotten a large number of complaints regarding sidewalk repair and issues. And then we got into discussing the potential, which we had been discussing for over a year, the potential to come up with a city program that would allow the city to provide some type of a program to assist our residents in sidewalk repair. And in that discussion, one of the items that we sort of asked the law director to strip out was the sidewalk repair due to sidewalks lifting due to city-owned tree roots. And then we have the question of the normal cracking of the sidewalks. And can we come up with a program for that? So at the end of the last meeting, we had asked Miss Davis if she would be willing to maybe create an informal moratorium where it would allow the committee to actually really get into creating those things by code and not continue enforcement, because we just finished exterior inspections and we had a lot of outstanding violations until we had a sense of what we were going to do. And then residents would know when they go to repair, should they just go to repair now? Or should they hold off and we could go from there? Because of that, and the mayor, from what I understand, was willing to and agreed to enacting the moratorium, but he requested that we do it formally by ordinance. And that is why we have an ordinance in front of us to deal with this. So everybody, I am sure, read it. Mr. Bryan, what exactly are we going to vote on to recommend or not recommend to the full council tonight? You want to give us just a brief
Sure. It would be
rundown?
Moratorium on all sidewalk repair and replacement citations and enforcement actions, except for point of sale repair directives. So everything else, enforcement and citations would not be sued, at least through the end of the year, unless otherwise decided by council. And I think the idea is to get the ordinance passed and figure out what we're doing. Put the ordinance in place and then get lift the moratorium.
Any discussion from the committee?
I do.
Mr. Rock?
I support this program. I'm excited about it, but I can think of two instances where the city may be at fault for sidewalk issues. One being the trees we talked about, whether it could crack the sidewalk or lift it. The other being where I see a lot of houses that have to replace their sewer line from the house to the street. The city's responsible from the sidewalk to the street. And I've noticed when they replace it, they lift up the sidewalk block, they put it back, but over a period of about a year, the settling causes that block to settle, just needs re-leveled. I feel that also falls on the cities since they're the ones doing the work under the sidewalk.
Thank you, Mr. Rock. That's something we had not discussed or talked about at all. Anybody else on the committee? Mr. Cooney?
The one mentioned that there is a possibility we'd be looking at this. There are some residents who are very excited about it because we're all impacted by it. I know I was several years ago. So I think this is I think we have a real good opportunity here. So
So I'll entertain a motion to recommend to the full council that we approve this.
I have a question. I'm sorry. Under 106001, Brad, did you say except for point of sale?
Yes.
Okay, so is the.
Is that a
underli-
problem, Ms. Davis?
No, it's just that, so is the underline the addition? Because it doesn't say except for point of sale. So I was wondering if we are now including it.
It reads, except for point of sale inspection repair directives. So the moratorium would not apply to point of sale inspection repair directives.
This is the moratorium ordinance. This is a separate ordinance. It's not the full, I think what you're looking at is the sidewalk one.
Where it speaks to the inspection.
Okay. Yeah, I believe I sent 3 copies,
Okay.
all 3 to you, and this is the one that was 2025. At that point, I didn't have a number at the end. It was 00. It was just designated as 00 for this meeting.
That's the one. Okay.
Okay? Okay. I'll entertain a motion. Recommend?
Well, before we make a motion,
Okay,
I guess let's look at 1060.036, where it mentions here that the city shall be responsible for 1/2 or all up to a certain number of panels.
Mr. Rack,
Yeah.
all we're talking about is the moratorium. We're not talking about the sidewalk ordinance yet.
Oh, okay.
This is the.
Just the moratorium. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, fine.
So, yeah, so you want to
Yeah, we,
work on that one first and then,
yeah, let's deal with the moratorium first, please.
so.
That's what's in front of us.
And for the record, the number, it's 2025-43.
Okay. How about I make a motion that we approve and recommend to the full council 2025-43, the moratorium on sidewalk repair and replacement citations.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
If you want to have
Pardon?
audience comments, someone raise their hand. It's
When
up to
we
you.
get the sidewalk.
Yeah.
Okay. So there we go. Now,
Okay.
Mr. Rock.
So regarding that sidewalk.
Now, wait, slow down. Let me at least introduce it. All right, we had chapter 1060 sidewalks. And what's this ordinance? This another one that was just had 1060. 44. Okay. This is the one that makes the changes. And first of all, I talked to Mr. Bryan before the meeting. And I mentioned that we had requested two separate things. And he pointed out everything is sort of lumped into 1060. So, do we want to handle it all at once for both things? Or do we want to try to do it separately?
What are the two
Well,
lumps you're looking at?
the
Are you looking at,
part of the discussion that we had last meeting was for the leveling of the sidewalks, that there's three things that have been occurring. The company that our residents hire comes out and lifts the block. Then the service department is coming out and getting rid of the roots so that it can, and then the other company comes back and then places the block back down. So it's a three-pronged thing that requires some actual coordination. We talked about if we started with that program, that we would be able to see, number one, try to get an idea of how many, and I think we did ask you, Ms. Davis, if you had a sense of how many blocks were cited in the last area for tree roots because of leveling.
Well, so the total that I gave was not the total that was caused by tree roots because he
You don't
didn't
have it?
clarify that.
Okay. Hmm.
Do you want me to explain what the ordinance, the amendments?
Well, hang on a second. If you don't mind, Mr. Bryan. I know you'd prefer to get it all through all at once, but. Okay. So we don't have a number, but
No.
what was the total number for sidewalks?
Oh, I don't recall, and
You
I
don't
don't
recall,
have that.
okay.
Mm-mm.
I'd have to go back through the minutes. We were trying to split those off. Because what we were thinking is if the city developed a program to do it, that with the number, we'd go through an area, do the citations, and then offer to the residents that we would hire one contractor and which would lower the cost per block, and then coordinate with service. So when the contractor came in, it was a lift, cut, drop, lift, cut, drop. If we could do a coordination with service, and that's something that Mr. Pennington would have to look at. The second piece of that, we weren't sure if the city could provide a portion of the cost to the resident or if we could provide the full cost. That's the other part of the question. What would the budget hit be on this that we also have to look at? And then the separate issue was the general cracks in having to have somebody come and replace a block of, take it out and just redo it, where the damage is not caused by anything that relates to city work or a city tree. So I think what I'm going to ask you now, Mr. Bryan, is the change that you made in here, is this something that can cover both of those, but not formally commit us to how much we'd have to pay or the formal workings of the program?
I left that part vague. So what the ordinance does is it puts in a provision for abatement by the city for, you know, if somebody has a sidewalk, we come out and cite you, we can take you to court. I think other provisions in the code might allow the city to abate it and pass, but just so that's added in the ordinance. So if you don't fix it, the city can step in, hire a contractor to do it, fix it ourselves, bill you, and put it on the tax duplicate, you know, pay for the bill. It also calls for every year the city to go out to bid to get a sidewalk contractor to do the work, so that we have somebody hopefully that's readily available to do the work when needed for a better price. It doesn't specifically talk about the language, which could be spruced up to allow the resident right away to say they want the city to do the work right when they get cited. And, you know, we'd already have a price that could be quoted to them. This is how much it's gonna cost. If you want us to do the work, you can do it yourself and let us know. And we have the provision in there, that if it's, the city would be responsible for the cost of repairs, related to tree roots from a city-owned tree in the road right away. And I put in there, you know, whether it's one half, whether it's all. Mr. Pennington said the Mentor program, does up to 3 panels, doesn't go beyond 3 panels, so it's up to council to decide what type of commitment, whether we'd be paying for all of it or a portion or up to 3 panels. Something like that. And it also cleans up antiquated language, you know, that has building commissioner in there.
Off the top of my head, my first question is, we have to know how many. I mean, if we did in citations from this past year in 2025, 400 blocks, knowing that gives us at least a sense. And I think if I've read the citations that some of the residents have shown me, some of them talk about replace the block, but some of them talk about level the block. It's a separate, I think a separate thing in the code. Is it possible to retrieve that number for us?
Yes, but I think that the number that you're really looking for is the blocks that are, the tree roots are causing the problem, correct? Separated out from the number of violations
Mhm.
that were cited for just crack.
And we're identifying them as level versus replace the block. That at least would give us a starting point, Ms. Davis. Because probably most of the level ones are going to be because of roots.
Yes and no,
Hmm.
because all of them may not be caused by the tree. And so I
Well-
can't say that 400 of that 400 at this moment, 200 were caused by the tree. Because that, that wasn't a part of the inspection.
Where it's possible, it could be a front yard. tree
Correct.
rather than-
Yeah, it's possible. My point is, you know, the old question is it bigger than a bread basket? Out of 400, are we talking about 400 citations to level? Or are we talking about 150? That automatically gives us a sense of a difference between cracked sidewalks caused by frost and whatever versus something that has to be leveled where we know a portion of them, maybe as according to Mr. Rock's comment, may have been caused by sewer repair in the past and may also be caused by the roots of a tree. It at least gives us a number so we know if we can afford to pay for it totally. That's where I'm trying to get to. That's why I said sometimes it's like the old, is this bigger than a bread box? Can we get it down to something that's a manageable number when we start thinking about it? Mrs. Sacks.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I have a question. So when you identify that there's a problem with the sidewalk, whatever that is, crack, lift, tree lawn, that, is it just that the sidewalk and you don't specify if it's from, what the root cause is? If it's from the tree lawn or something else, you just know. Are the inspectors just identifying that there's a problem with the sidewalk?
So by,
Not a right or wrong answer,
No,
I'm
no,
just trying to.
but by the
'cause I think
ordinance,
I
it's
can help
only
you.
determining if it needs to be repaired, replaced, or leveled.
And can you see the location in relation to where the tree lawn tree is? That's really where I'm getting to. Or you don't know, we're not doing that.
Correct.
Okay, so all that Markel, Ms. Davis could provide is the number of sidewalks. And a portion of that would be caused by city work or city trees. Okay, thank you. So there's at least a number.
Mrs. Weiss.
Yeah, no, thank you. And I think, maybe next year we'll be able to kind of drill down on that form and be able to really get better data, but this is the data we have now. So if we can have those three types of sidewalk issues, then we can be able to determine some kind of cost. So do you have that, is that data's right from the inspector when he goes around? He
No,
checks
so
it.
there was actually a report that was generated that gives the total number and the percentage of the type of violations. So that's why I was saying on there, it will only identify the total number.
That's out of citizens.
Correct.
Yeah, that's a citizen's.
Okay, so
Subset.
So if you could do that, that gives us a very good starting point, and I think that helps us moving forward.
can I just clarify one thing? So
But-
the data that you have is from the inspector. When the inspector is walking around,
Citing.
Silas is checking off repair, replace, or
Correct.
level, whatever it is.
There are
Okay.
three different
Okay.
codes.
I just want to make sure that the inspector was the one that's how you got the data.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Vice Mayor, there are three different
Right.
codes that am I correct?
Correct.
Yeah, there are three totally different codes he has to use. So when the letter goes out to our residents, they see the individual codes.
Mhm.
Mr. Cooney,
Thank you. Would it be possible, because I'm thinking, looking at trends, get for each one of those, the 23, 24 year to date? I'm curious to see if those quantities are similar year to year,
Mm.
as opposed to, are they trending up or down in the quantity that's being found?
I do believe so.
Would that be easy to separate that year to year by the category of the defect?
I didn't generate the report, so I would have to check to see how the report was generated.
Okay, I'll just, interesting to see if what are the trends going? Yeah.
I understand, Mr. Cooney, if we can get a couple of years, if you can, Ms. Davis, that would also be very helpful for us. Because that gives us an idea, as Mr. Cooney said, if it's trending up or down. Some of that is also going to be dependent upon weather. When we get a lot, the same thing happens to our roads. When we get a lot of thaws and freezes, cracks become bigger, issues, we get some raise in level in the ground. I do notice, I don't know if any of the residents that came wanted to talk about this. Did you want to or not? You did? Do we have a microphone for him? Roberta, we're gonna get you set up with the microphone.
Check, check.
If you would give us your name and your address, and then that's what we ask everybody.
Chris Oletta, 2607 Eden Road.
Thank you.
General question was, we've received 2 letters so far. We've attempted to contact Mrs. Davis's office in Silas and not really gotten any response. So to go back to your prior point about taking those things seriously when they come to a resident's house, for fear of not getting taken to court, like you had mentioned before, what if people have started down the road of fixing their properties to be in compliance with the code? I understand the moratorium for those who have not taken action, but those who took it seriously, how are you, it seems to me like you're going backward in this motion, meaning you didn't know what the budget number was ahead of time in terms of the cost, the number of homes that it impacted. And now you're kind of, the people who've already taken this seriously and who have made the changes or tried to make the changes are kind of caught in this, middle ground of not really being able to understand, number one, if what they're doing is correct, or number two, what their other options are because of the communication spectrum that's been taken so far.
I will absolutely agree with you. We knew when we started talking about this that we were going to run into people in the middle ground, where some residents had received citation letters and went and had either blocks leveled or had blocks replaced. The reason it got to this is because of the level of resident contact with council members, that it got so high that we then really talked about we needed to do something, and we decided to push ahead. We have talked about it. It has not filtered up to the administration. We really pushed it with asking the law director to start collecting ordinances from other states. What we actually did last meeting was asked him to collect ordinances from other cities so that we could look at a variety of how different cities are addressing this. We didn't wholly anticipate we would end up with the ordinance we have. And I'm being very honest and open. It was going to be more dialoguing on it, but now that it's in front of us, good. The mayor signed on to it. That means the administration is now working with council on this issue. And I'm very hopeful we can do something. I don't know if we can do anything for the people that already did the work. I'm being very honest with you. That's the conundrum. We have 2 options. We can stop and just say, okay, everybody fix your sidewalks. Or we can say, at this point, if you have not moved forward, you're not going to get taken to court. You're not going to get fined. But you're right. We have to find a way to communicate that to you. And you meaning every resident that still has outstanding violations that haven't been corrected as of yet. And I would assume that housing has a list of those addresses, and we can just send out a letter to them saying, to all those addresses saying, we are working on a program that may address some of these issues. There is a moratorium until the end of the year. The city will be back in contact with you with the potential for programs where we could work with you on getting those things repaired. That would be about the best that we can do.
I can understand the letter process and I understand your position on that. What I don't understand, and maybe I'm a little old fashioned, but why not call somebody on the phone, arrange for a meeting in person, some type of personal human to human recognition of what's going on rather than blatantly ignoring the communication that the residents made, both to the city, to the housing director, to the inspector. That part to me, I don't understand. So I guess I'm looking for clarification on, just in terms of city personnel being respectful to the residents. I'm not looking for a dollar of the city's money. I just want to understand if this is what the violation was and we're taking steps to correct it. Can you at least give me some type of, intermediate progress update? It's just, I think it's a matter of respect to the people who are living in the city.
I do not disagree with you. Part of what's happened is that we on council do get emails from the residents, as I said, and we've worked with housing to make those connections. We do the best we can. Here's the reality of our democratic system. We're a legislative body. We can ask, we can encourage, we can talk to the administration, but the administration, and the mayor has made this exceedingly clear to council, is his bailiwick. That is right. You are the chief administrator of the city. You tell us that often, Mayor, and I am being totally respectful of that at this moment. That means we can't tell a department what to do. We can ask, and we do ask, but we're asking on individuals. And I think what I'm hearing you ask is for everyone that has been cited. And there's one other thing that we all have to recognize. Ms. Davis has 2 administrative assistants plus the inspectors for housing. That's the housing component. That's not the community development component. And she has to juggle all of the inspections, all of the citations, and all of the point of sale, and a number of other things with a limited staff. And that is probably why sometimes things go slowly in getting back to residents. I am sure she is working diligently to try to improve that. I can tell you that she has instituted some changes in her department, which we have seen as very positive on the council side. But it's not perfect, and I'll admit to that. And I think, as changes go, it takes time for those things to take effect.
Yeah, we also applied for a loan through the home.
The Heritage Home Program?
Yeah, so
okay.
we were approved financially, but then they came and did an inspection. And unfortunately, on Memorial Day, we had water coming through our ceiling of our kitchen from our bathroom. And so now we weren't approved for the repair. So now we are trying to do them on our own, which has been the most frustrating part of this all. And so because we're afraid that we're going to get a citation, which we won't be able to afford. So
I would hope, and Ms. Davis, I don't know if you
and we're
want to
both
address
employed.
this.
I mean, I'm part-time, he's full-time. We have the money to pay for it. We just did not get approved because we have this damage that we're still dealing with our State Farm insurance, which is ongoing. So it's been a frustrating process for us everywhere in our house.
I hear you. And Ms. Davis, tell me if I'm wrong, but usually if a resident has these kinds of problems and you talk to them, that you generally do work something out for them. Am I correct?
Correct. And I'm actually going out to do some of the re-inspections as well, or to identify where a lot of residents are stating this violation does not exist. The inspector.
They exist. It's 3 of them are related to the tree. One is our driveway, one spot on our driveway. I mean, they exist. There's, and I understand the safety of neighbors walking on our property, and so we want to get them fixed, but again, if we don't get approved for the loan, then we're trying to figure it out. And luckily enough, our neighbors have been coming with supplies and all the rest of the stuff, but it's been a very frustrating process. And we have gotten 2 notices, and he's been really good about calling, emailing, all of the rest of the stuff and no responses. So we get 2 letters in the mail, but no other response or follow-up. So that's the frustrating part for us.
Ms. Davis, would you talk to them at the
Absolutely.
end? This meeting ends in a couple of minutes. When it ends, Ms. Davis can get your information, and I'm sure she'll take care of it from there. All right, obviously, we're not gonna get too far in the ordinance that's in front of us. We already added one thing, that Mr. Rock brought up that would be related to city.
And I just think since we were very specific in the ordinance about being tree roots, that maybe we look at other city work that may have caused the damage.
Is there my understanding also, from the email, Mayor, that you sent around was that a couple of the interns did work on this. Would it be possible to get their information that they supplied to
Yeah.
either you or the law
I
director?
gave it to the law director.
Okay, that I can have it, we can submit it to to the committee so that it helps to inform our decisions as well.
Okay, yeah, I mean, we incorporated that into the ordinance.
I know, but I'd like to see their work.
Okay.
I mean, they're the ones that did it. I mean, I think, and you commended them for it. I think it's probably good enough that if we look at it and get a sense of it outside of how it turned out to be a few lines in an ordinance, we would see if we want to go further than that, or if we want to pursue some of the threads they may have identified.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, we are running up on the council meeting. We have 3 minutes. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And we are adjourned. Thank you all.